Welcome back to Doing Bart Things, and in this decidedly lower in production, we're going to take a look at the 9070 XT and how I think the most optimal way this could show up for AMD, because I do think we're starting to get some evidence that perhaps it's better than we thought it was, even still, because we're now getting some little benchmark leaks here and there, and I'm sort of a believer that sometimes this is not by accident. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're starting to get information. So, first thing I'll point out is a lot of people say there's no way that the Navi 48 GPU, base GPU, could hold a candle to the 4080. Well, let's just hold on a second. The GPU itself is 390 millimeters squared, okay? So if we compare that, that's just as big as the 8103. It might even be a little bigger than the 8103, okay? Which is what the 4080 was based off of. So from a chip size wise, absolutely. It may even come off the same process. So roughly the same process, I believe-ish. Same die. Don't quote me on the process thing. I'm really tired. I'm not going to go look it up right now. I'm trying to make this video for you guys. But I think it's 4 nanometer at TSMC, which may have been what the 4000 series is also based on. If memory serves, I'm sure somebody will correct me. But the actual chip itself, the die size is roughly the same. We're going to flip over the next tab. So it clocks up to 3 gigahertz apparently from this leak. It can go up to 330 total board power, which we have a screenshot of it doing that. And it's faster than RTX 4080 Super in Time Spy and a 4070 Ti in Speedway. Speedway is the ray tracing one. So, I believe. Video cards, like they've got all the screenshots. We've known about the 330 watts. The screenshot is here of it eating the 330 watts. And then you got your benches and you have your comparison. So if this is to be believed, your 9070 XT falls right up against a 7900 XTX and a 4070 Ti Super in Speedway. 4080 is a bit faster. And then in Time Spy, it beats the 4080 Super, okay, by a little bit. Again, not huge margin of victory or anything. You know, it's my point has always been it's in the mix of performance of these higher end video cards. That was what it looked like to me as could be the possibility. I was getting really sort of concerned when they just canceled the GRE. No word on the XT or the XTX 7900. And I was like, this could be bad because maybe it's not performing as high as that. But if these are to be believed, then absolutely it is, right? 99 frames per second on the non-XT version, 4K Extreme in COD and without FSR. That's pretty good. AMD cards do have an advantage on this game, though. It likes AMD cards, so it's not completely outside of reason that it's not going to perform that well in other games, okay? Just saying. But this apparently is done by IGN. They went in and tried it out. So here's another actual piece of data, right? Now, here's the big one, okay? Let's just say for a moment that performance is right, okay? It's hanging in there with a 5070 Ti, with a 4080. What's it going to cost? Well, rumor mill strikes again. $479 for the reference model, $549 for the partner card models. Okay, so here's the deal. AMD, if you can deliver this and it works, the drivers are okay, all that stuff, I got some good news. You're going to sell some video cards. I'm going to be in line to get one. I'll replace my 3080 with one. That sounds very appetizing to me, okay? It's the right price. It's the performance that is on the high end of what we thought it could be. And if it works, cool, great. But here's the deal. If CES was any indication, you guys can't deliver anything. Like, all you had to do was walk out on stage, give these data points, and then walk off stage. That's it. Like, this wins. Like, this is good. This is what everybody wants. Okay? But you didn't. And so your marketing is just, we got to do something with the marketing. Okay? Having said that, I think NVIDIA has left themselves open. So why do I say they've left themselves open is because I don't think the 5000 series performs anywhere near as well as they're making it sound like. I was appalled when they said 5070 equals 4090. I'm like, no, it doesn't. That's not at all how that works. Frame generation, I hate it. I hate it for this reason, okay? So if I'm in a car and I think the car is going too slow, so I say, well, I got an idea. Let's change the speedometer so that way it looks like the car is going faster when it's not. That's what frame gen does. Frame gen, once you turn it on, that's just a number on the screen, okay? I mean, it's not, who cares about the frame rate at that point? Like, it's not relevant, in my opinion, because you're not getting those frames from, like, really the game engine. The card is doing that. And the card is trying to predict what you're going to do and what the game is going to do and what things are supposed to look like. I mean, it's a mess to me. Like, that's not actual performance, okay? Maybe it's really good. Maybe I'm wrong, right? As far as the quality of that and how that plays. But the fact still stands, that's not a direct comparison of performance. That doesn't work, okay? I can't really tell. I mean, I made a joke online. I said, let's fast forward to 2027, and they say the 6070 is as fast as the 5090 with DLSS 5, and it does 8 times as many frames. Like, and it's just generating frames all over the place. Like, well, it just, it just predicts what you're going to do in advance with AI. And it's like, no, like, no, it's very frustrating that they're using that as like the way to tell if their card's faster. I mean, AMD could do the same thing, but again, we're going to get to a point where it doesn't matter because both companies are like, well, we're going to generate 100 frames, and I mean, the number doesn't mean anything anymore, and the more you do that, I suspect, while it may be improved over the last version, you're still going to have input lag. There's still going to be glitches and things with that because it's just not, you can get really close, but it's not going to be perfect. And a lot of the improvements in some of that stuff, you have to zoom in and look to see what's actually happening. Just give me a card that does raster or ray tracing really good, and that's great. I think the scaling is fine, like, making, using low resolution, scaling it, whatever you got to do there. I think that's pretty neat. And I've not had a problem with those technologies, but it's still not a like-to-like comparison. It's not, you can't drag race something like, going back to the Speedo situation. So if two cars are drag racing, they do a quarter-mile drag race, they get there at exactly the same time, but one says, well, I was doing 120 miles an hour, the other person's doing 60, like, it doesn't, they still got to the finish line at the same time. It's just a big mess, and AMD's, NVIDIA's marketing, I mean, when Gamers Nexus reviews that, like, I'm going to get some popcorn and just watch the fireworks, because there's no way Steve is not going to say something about that. Like, that just is going to happen. So, anyway, if you're wondering, is there a possibility that this card will be at the upper end of what the predictions are? Yes, like it could actually happen. Here's some evidence that that is actually possible. We even have some benchmarks, albeit leaked, albeit they're benchmarks, they're not in game. Okay, and that's always something you have to consider. Um, and we have a potential leak price that would put it in a super favorable way up against the prices that Nvidia announced. And I think under basically $1,000 at that point, this would be the option, which is great. Like that would actually be a little bit of competition in a market that sorely needs that competition. So here's hoping, but you know how it is. AMD will always find a way to steal defeat from the jaws of victory. So we'll have to see what happens. Guys, if you like this video, leave a like, maybe a subscribe. I do want to try to circle back around to look at NVIDIA again. I'm thinking we're going to get maybe some release and more information here relatively soon about their cards. I'm really excited to see what the third-party reviews are for these. They're going to be getting them around the same time. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be really interesting. Have a great night and a great rest of your week, and we'll see you in the next one.